Friday, I've committed myself to just looking like shit. I don't know why. Camera tweak. I've been doing a ton of coloring on my film, and I've decided I really like the low contrast look, so I did that in camera today. I dropped instead of having the standard setup that I have where contrast is +2, I have it at -2. So I think it looks okay, but we'll see when I put it through iMovie. Did I write this week? Just in the room, so not a whole lot of writing. Did I read this week? No. Did I watch TV and stuff? Yeah. Just plowing through this Big Brother season, and it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. It's a TV show somehow. It's hard to judge whether I'm just overly invested in it or whether it's actually good TV. Yeah. I've been going through Parks and Rec. I just put stuff on when I color, so I've been flipping through Parks and Rec and Black Mirror, and I'm finally catching up on Black Mirror. I finally got to season 4. What a good show. My only hesitation with Black Mirror is I recognize that the one guy writes all of it, which is good, but I don't know. There's undeniably incredible episodes of Black Mirror, and then there's some meh ones, but just for some reason the idea that he's the only one writing it, I feel some kind of way about. Yeah. Especially because Twilight Zone, which is clearly the inspiration for Black Mirror, had like a billion writers. So, I don't know. I saw the 8th Grade, the Bo Burnham movie, and kind of what I expected. What I didn't expect was I couldn't stay in the movie mentally. I kept jumping out because I kept going, how did he do this? How did he think of this? I was like stuck on the technical and logic side of stuff instead of being engrossed in a story, and I don't know why. But it was, usually when I see a movie, in the first 5 minutes, if it's a decent movie, I am completely invested in the world, and I'm thinking inside the world of the movie. And in this one, I was definitely thinking outside the movie, sort of in like the director's chair, going, wow, how did he get this? That kind of stuff. So not an ideal movie-going experience, but it's a great movie. I'm disappointed in that somehow I beat myself and I didn't get to experience it the way I wanted to, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I was expecting this movie to be like incredible and a really good example of Bo Burnham being a terrific storyteller, because he is. He's a great storyteller. I don't know if I would say terrific, but I also, just the way I experienced the movie did not determine terrific storytelling. It was like a good story that gave me anxiety throughout. It's in the same way that John Krasinski movie where it's super quiet in the theater. This movie, I was physically uncomfortable the entirety of the movie. And you could hear like sporadic laughs, like awkward laughs. It was a lot of that, which was the point, but it was also just, it was uncomfortable. So I think he did a great job capturing the experience of being an 8th grader, but at the same time, it's not a world I want to live in. I'm not even sure I would want to revisit that again. I saw Extinction. It's that Netflix alien abduction movie, and the first 30 minutes of it are unwatchable. Worse than that bunch of alien abduction movies that came out, like Skyline and war. I forget the military one. There was a bunch of them all at the same time. And they were all just not good. The first 30 minutes of Extinction is like a worse version of that. However, there's a twist, and it's a really awesome twist, and kind of made the rest of the movie for me. I think if I were making the movie, I would just start it at the 29-minute mark, so you have 1 minute of this alien abduction shit that they didn't do very well, and then the rest of the story. But very satisfying story. Not a complicated story, but the twist definitely made it for me. So I liked it. Writing tip says see phone. So let's pull the phone open. Oh yeah, be specific instead of settling for abstract language. And I'm guilty of this too. And this isn't just a writing tip, but it's also like a everything tip. If you can't, like, I'm in a situation where I'm transitioning careers or getting, I don't know what you would call it. And I'm realizing that the abstract idea of working as a writer, because I didn't do the work to actually have concrete images of what that looks like, has become a problem. So when you're writing, be specific. Don't bother just keeping it abstract. There's something attractive about being abstract, because you can come back to it later, or you didn't ruin what you thought was great about it, that kind of thing. But in the context of actual work and getting the message across, abstract almost never works. And so you do have to go ahead and, instead of say he rides off into the unknown, you say he rides off into the distance, dust cloud, mesas in the background, tumbleweed goes by. It's useful. So be specific, do the effort to make sure that you can see it in your mind after you've described it. Especially coming back to it. If you just write something and then leave it alone and then come back to it and it doesn't make a lick of sense, you weren't specific enough. So be specific. And specificity is where the voice comes in. Specificity is sort of the most important thing about writing. But yeah, and I'm finding it lends to everything. If you have trouble describing something, you clearly haven't put in the time or the thinking time to really suss it out. Box office. I screwed up. I thought Teen Titans was going to do better, but apparently 30-year-olds didn't go see it, myself included. I have a MoviePass rant. Okay, so I'm doing MoviePass still, and they're getting progressively worse, but they're also definitely circling the drain. Unquestionably. Like, by every measure, they're somehow still alive. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. But I kind of wanted to go see Mission Impossible, and for no explanation, I was not allowed on MoviePass to check into any Mission Impossible at any time. Not even with their bullshit, like, additional cost icon, which I was not going to pay for anyway. None of that stuff. I just couldn't. I was not allowed to. It looked like I had already watched it. Instead of saying you've already watched it on it, it just didn't say anything. But they did not explain that. I think they sent an email out that following Monday saying we've been off the radar and it's becoming increasingly difficult to offer things like Mission Impossible. So I completely understand the business reason they wouldn't let us watch Mission Impossible, but I have a beef with the fact that they didn't say anything. They just sort of deactivated it for us. But I'm also not upset about that, because they're definitely on life support, and this is the sort of executives jumping out of the window moment of their company. It's weird. It's sort of turning into what always happens, which is you stay in the relationship too long and you both are trying to get out, or you both want out at least, and you're doing a shitty job getting out, and it's spoiling. If there was anything special, it just gets more spoiled as you go. We're definitely in that period of the MoviePass situation. It's never going to get better than it has been, and it's just going to keep getting worse. So I expect to jump ship or get canceled. I mean, I definitely sent them the picture of my ticket weeks ago for a movie I saw, and then obviously threw the ticket away, and they made me go update the app. So here's some bullshit. If you have any app on your phone and it's ready for an update, it usually just updates itself, or sometimes you have to click update on the app and it'll update itself, and it'll do that. In MoviePass, when I went to go log in to see a movie the other day, I clicked check in, and when I clicked check in, a little tiny red banner across the top said, unable to check in, you need to update the app. But there's no place on the app to update the app. I had to look it up. You had to go into the App Store, re-download MoviePass, and that would be the update. They're an app. Like, that's probably the second thing that has to work on the app, other than physically clicking on it and opening it. The update should be in the app. That's completely insane. So I did that. As I'm frantically trying to go see the movie, I did that. And when I did that, it said, oh, by the way, you never sent us your picture of American Animals for your ticket stub. We need that. And I was like, I 100% sent it to you weeks ago. And in the app that wasn't updated, I was able to log into stuff. So what the fuck? So I basically sent that email to them, and they gave me forgiveness. It's crazy. I begrudgingly accept the ticket stub aspect of it. But the fact that they would threaten to cancel you over all these extra rules that they keep adding is not helping their business model. It's just not, because they need more subscribers. That's their problem. Their whole business model, which is fundamentally flawed, is expansion. No matter what, get more subscribers. And if you keep deleting people, you're working yourself out of your own game, but also the threat of deletion is causing people to be more defensive, and that leads to less people signing up or less people staying. Like, it's a mistake. So I accept now that before MoviePass dies, which I believe will be in the next month, although they've been in zombie mode for weeks now, so maybe it might be a year. To their credit, to the lost credit of credit companies that are giving this company loans for reasons I don't understand. Anyway, there's a really decent chance I might just get deleted and kicked out of MoviePass before that even happens, before they die. And I'm okay with it at that point, which is that's where we're in the bad part of the relationship. The fact that I accept that. We went as long as we could, and shit is shitty now, and oh well. And I'm at the hurt feelings point where, like, if a threat comes my way, 50-50 chance I'll apologize and try to work it out, versus just be like, I don't care. So that's it. All right, see ya. Not great, MoviePass. Not great. But they keep adding on all these weird rules, and which annoy me incredibly. But as long as they are very clear about them and don't implement them before they announce that they're doing them, I'm okay. But they have this habit of, at least 3 times in memory of the last like month and a half, they keep adding or changing stuff and just don't acknowledge it, or they acknowledge it days later. That's shitty business practices. That's bad business practices. Which again, if it's something like Uber or Grubhub, where their priority is minimum amount of resistance between their service. So Uber, the bottleneck for Uber, business wise, is the fact that they have to fucking pay people to drive, or they have to arrange for paid people to drive. Like their Uber's business model is designed. I was very influenced by this Uber YouTube video the other day. Their whole business model is designed where they're just trying to keep it going and keep expanding, because they're also, like MoviePass, business model is expansion, but their other secondary business model is the minimum amount of resistance between the person getting the ride who's paying and Uber. And for them, that is an automated service, like a air taxi or an automatic, like an electric taxi, whatever requires no driving from a person, because that's an expensive cost that they don't necessarily need, or that's what they're working to. It's gross for all the reasons. Grubhub is the same way, and I'm still digesting this idea because I do work for Grubhub more than I like to admit. The delivery driver is the squeaky wheel in the system, is the inconvenience, because Grubhub really just wants to sell food, get paid for selling food, and then begrudgingly, because they don't have any restaurants, have to kick back some to the restaurant. The fact that there's an entire service of delivery drivers connected to it, they put up with it, but there's no motivation to do anything about it. Like their focus is only to make it work as good as it absolutely has to work, which is not great for the people involved. I'd say at every step. Anyway, MoviePass is doing the same thing, where they just if it doesn't directly involve making more money, which for them all of a sudden is just getting loans, which is, I don't know, probably the worst economic decision you could possibly make in a situation like this. They're not. There's no motivation to improve anything. So their app, I would argue, is better than ever, but it's also 5 years behind a regular app. Like, they're just not very good, and the fact that you have to download the update through the App Store is just silly. That kind of stuff. So they, it's weird. It's MoviePass keeps adding on all these little asterisks and all these little extra rules that just keep showing up out of nowhere, and they're not motivated to tell anybody about it, because they're not really concerned about the customer using it. They're concerned about the customer signing up. I've gone so long, I might as well finish this thought. MoviePass, Uber, Grubhub, Bird. Make the changes that are going to cost you initially, although MoviePass, you're fucked in this regard. Make the changes that will cost you initially in the customer service, customer relations, business development side of things. The people, the interpersonal person stuff. Fix that, because that is how you have a living, breathing company. That is how you have a company. The only exception I could possibly think of, well, actually there's two. There's Facebook and Amazon, which are admittedly some of the biggest companies on earth, who just have shirked this idea, but it works for them because they can expand everywhere. So they can always expand until we physically run out of people that don't have internet. So that's their system. You smaller companies that require at least 2 people to interface, you got to figure out a way to make that a better system for both the customer and the intermediate person doing the service. You got to make that better. Otherwise, people will leave, and at some point you're gonna run out. I might not outlive MoviePass. They might delete me. I will probably get fired from Grubhub because, as you know, the longer I'm there, the chances of me getting deleted are the same, and so at some point I'm going to get deleted. So really, the longer I'm there, the likelihood of me getting deleted on a certain day goes up, just because of how, you know, if you look back versus that, I mean, that's by definition the gambler's fallacy, but that's actually what I'm going off of, because I do believe that they would use the logic of the gambler's fallacy in justifying deleting me. Anyway, you gotta. We're in the Me Too movement. We're in the whatever the other movement is. We're in the movement where you have to take care of people, because it's not just downloading something and then charging a credit card. There's people involved. That's in theory, like, that's on the face of it why you got into this business, is because you wanted to work with people. In reality, you saw a niche and you tried to find the most efficient way to do something not involving people. But the reality is, a lot of times you're going to need people. Treat people better. Yeah. By the way, there was a period of time where the customer service for Grubhub. Oh, by the way, there's 2 customer services in Grubhub. There's driver support, and then there's customer care. When I started over a year ago, those were 2 separate people. Now they're the same person, and you go through the same menu to get to, like, you have to announce that you're going to driver support if you're a driver. But when the customer service answers, they usually say customer care anyway, because it's the same thing. You just have to go through an additional filter on your own end, which is irrelevant by every measure. Anyway, I feel bad for these customers. At a certain time, I did feel bad about these customer service people, because customer service in any industry is a nightmare, and the turnover rate is very high because it sucks. And that's the nature of the beast. And usually everything is set up so that customer service is the worst situation. That's just how it goes. There's obviously exceptions. I feel like if you called customer service for Porsche, they would probably treat you very well, but that's because their priorities are totally different. So for a period of time, I felt bad for these customer service people for Grubhub, and then but as it turns out, they agreed to do customer service, and in the same way, I agreed to be an independent contractor for Grubhub. So there's no, you can't. Complaints will not be heard in either direction. So it's messy. Cliff Notes version of this super all over the place rant is MoviePass is somehow still alive, and they're treating everybody badly, and part of it is the cavalier attitude towards $9.99 membership. It made a splash, and that's really important, especially in the tech industry, to make a splash. But then you have to be able to back that up, or you will die. They're dying. They've been dying for a year. Somehow they're still alive. I do not understand how people are still, like, banks are still giving them money, because it doesn't work. Like, any rational person, this is the Christopher Columbus of apps, where he just goes to Ferdinand and Isabel and is like, I have a plan. And they're like, this guy is fucking insane and he's wrong. And my scientist is saying he's wrong. But, like, their justification was, we gotta expand. Like, the kingdom isn't gonna live unless we do these expeditions somehow, because everybody else is doing it. Somehow, MoviePass has fallen into that situation, and somebody is loaning them money, and they shouldn't be, because it's not a bubble. It's a pit. They're literally paying money to pay debts that have already been made. So, messy. Yeah. Anyway, so wasn't able to watch Mission Impossible. I got 2 out of 5 because I said Mission Impossible, Mamma Mia, and then I got the next 3 wrong because Teen Titans did significantly worse than I expected. So it's neither here nor there. Apparently, Mission Impossible is going to do great again, which goes to show you clearly the box office, the people that go to movies in the way we understand it don't use MoviePass, or use MoviePass less or something. I don't know. Clearly MoviePass is not as a big deal as they're pitching, which is undeniable. Because Mission Impossible still did great, even though everybody that owns MoviePass physically couldn't see it unless they paid independently, which I believe there's a portion of people that did, but over my dead body. Like, I'm definitely over the my dead body crowd, which is the MoviePass crowd, which is why MoviePass is going to die. Because that's their demographic, is the over my dead body people. And so every time I'm not done with this rant, this is insane. So every time they up it, it's you either take it on the chin or you just, yeah. So at some point, the over my dead body crowd, which is the vast majority of MoviePass users, are going to go, here's the line, you cross the line, I'm done. Will that happen before they go bankrupt? Yeah, I think so, because somehow people still loan this company money, which is just incredible to me. So yes, in a normal situation where logic is king, the MoviePass company would run out of money long before people got so annoyed that they deleted the app. However, the X factor of this equation is people continuously are giving MoviePass, like banks are still giving loans to MoviePass, which it does not make logical sense. So, this week, Mission Impossible, blah blah blah, Christopher Robin, The Spy Who Dumped Me, Mamma Mia 2, Hotel Transylvania 3. It's another one of those weeks where I'm like, nah, because everything is a sequel. I mean, Christopher Robin is not a sequel, but it's Disney's presentation of something Christopher Robin, blah blah blah, which is an incredibly well-known property. Yeah, it didn't even look that good, honestly. It looks upsetting and disappointing. So apparently there's a 30-minute recording limit, or at least in 30p. I didn't know that. I guess I'm going to have to do a science experiment, because I don't think AVC HD does that. But apparently MP4, there's a 30-minute recording limit. Good to know. That's really upsetting. Good to know. I'm telling you, I've done really long takes on AVC HD and not had a problem. Anyway, go right. I basically just had to do a MoviePass rant. I don't know why, and I brought Grubhub into it. That was weird. No love lost for Uber. I think Uber may be one of the darkest parts of our society right now. It's definitely not the darkest because we have a president, and he's who he is, but yeah, so the end, I guess. Go right. I don't know. Just sweaty and uncomfortable, and definitely the posture, the point of view, the tone, the pursed lips of a troll right now, of like a pissed off white boy, which is one of the ugliest things that can exist on the internet, if I'm being honest. Just why do you exist? Do some writing.